At 4 p.m, we focus on the by-elections. Let's get the lead tease. Our reporters are live across the country, and we'll start with Heidi.
Protests have erupted here in Soweto due to no electricity for the past 5 months. Residents have tried to block voting stations here in Naledi. More details in a short while.
Govan?
That's because most people are finished with work and have a chance to come to the voting stations. I was in Rivoli and Lenasia. I'll try to give you a sense of what was happening in those two areas.
And Monique?
Shahan, I'm in Philippi's Ward 88, one of 3 wards being contested here in Cape Town.
All right, we will get all the finer details now. Today, of course, is the country's biggest by-election ever. Over 400 political candidates are vying for 107 seats in 95 municipal wards countrywide. There's been a strong turnout in most areas, but in some where service delivery remains a dream for many, the crowds have been small. Tensions were also high at some voting stations, with police intervening to stop communities from shutting them down. Our reporters Govan Whittles, as well as Heidi Jacos and Monique Mortlock in Cape Town, following this for us. So, Govan, first let's start with you and what political parties have been promising people.
They're promising the moon and the stars, Shahan, but more importantly, they're promising service delivery. Whether or not they'll be able to deliver on those promises, it's too early to tell, of course, but we have a unique situation here in Lenasia, where the ward is currently being controlled by the Democratic Alliance, and this by-election is only happening because of the resignation of the Democratic Alliance councillor. So the new DA candidate has lamented the state of Lenasia and says that during his term, which is 2.5 months, he's done a lot for the community, and he's campaigning on this change ticket. The ANC and the new party, Al Jama, are also campaigning on this change ticket and also lament the state of Lenasia and also promise to bring better solutions to the community. I spoke to 3 of them earlier. Let's have a look at what they had to say.
Lenasia has been dilapidating, going down to drain in the past 10 years. As a ruling party in government, we are then watching, we are saying we think the time is now to vote the African National Congress, to vote Chris Masango. We are going to change the lives of the people, particularly in 4 critical areas. What are those? Your street lights, the cleaning of Lenasia, potholes, and cutting of grass.
Besides your basic service delivery challenges, you have challenges from the municipal-owned entities, the unresponsiveness from the respective officials from the municipal entities puts this ward in a very, very bad spotlight. Region G has been totally neglected, and in particular Lenasia as such, and in particular Ward 9 as such as well. If you drive around this ward, you will see the crime, the grime that's taking place here.
One of the important aspects of Al Jama is that it means community. Many people are under the wrong impression that we are a religious group. However, I must make it very clear that we also would like to encompass the spiritual fiber and the moral compass that lacks within the previous governing bodies. And if we carry on in this light, surely we'll be a great example to the community here in Lenasia.
So Heidi, of course, there was some pandemonium in Naledi earlier. Tell us more about what happened.
Yes, no, certainly, Shahan. So we understand that residents are extremely unhappy with the fact that they've not had electricity for almost 6 months. We understand that a mini substation stopped working in about early June, and according to residents, Eskom did not come and fix it. This is why the community here in Naledi, Soweto, decided that they are actually going to try and stop voting from happening. They were trying to block 2 facilities, one church as well as a primary school. They did not unlock the gates, trying to avoid anybody who wanted to vote from entering. Of course, this prompted police. There was a heavy police presence trying to restore calm and encourage everybody that even though there are serious service delivery issues, they need to allow people to exercise their democratic rights and vote. But we spoke to one resident earlier on. Let's listen to what she had to say.
they are doing their job. So as we are taking better steps. Rinka job, finish and clear. Last stage, we're not going to use our facilities as Mpagati who vote. If they vote, they can take it somewhere else. It's fine. Maramona lady, Haruto voti sapa. Oh, Mamela Papa, Harulani ANC, Harulani EFF, because of ballot paper, I think what's ANC in one. Haven't get voting stations somewhere else. More Harinam Takas. As we speak right now. Ringola the online exam as we speak now. So how not to repeat if Habaruka Luna White our remorse. We don't have it as a communist. Renali anger.
So let's move to Cape Town. Monique, you were in Philippi. What's the turnout been like?
It's been a slow, quiet, uneventful day, Shahan. We've been here since 7 a.m. this morning visiting the various voting stations in Ward 88, and we've only seen a handful of voters at a time trickling in, so no long lines. But to get a better idea of someone who has been here at the Lutheran Community Centre, which is one of the main voting stations, I'm going to chat to one of the smaller political parties that's also vying for candidacy for that ward councillor position. As you know, Ward 88 is an ANC stronghold, so it's the ANC's to lose or to retain following the death of its previous ward councillor. Obviously, we have the powerhouse political parties here, like your DA, your EFF, your ANC. Then we have your smaller political parties. And I just want to bring TASHREEQ into it from the National Freedom Party. Firstly, what has the turnout been like? You guys have been sitting here also from this morning. Has it been a steady stream of voters coming in, or has it also been quiet?
Well, we've been here since 7 o'clock this morning, and when we pitched up here, all these people were set up already. And we've been here since 7 o'clock this morning, and I mean, people has been in and out, but the rush is not as much as we expected it to be. You get what I'm saying? Because as you've mentioned, this is a by-election, and normally when it's by-elections, it's much bigger than the elections, because people that didn't vote at the elections wouldn't have opportunity to vote at the by-elections, and as a result, it is very slow.
Now, this is historically an ANC ward. What do you think are the chances for the National Freedom Party to win that coveted ward councillor position?
Okay, well, as you mentioned, this is an ANC ward, and our small political parties, namely the NFP, I would say we stand a much bigger chance. You know why? Because during lockdown, those other parties never came out to assist us, right? I come from an informal settlement, so the resources that we had was very slim, right? And the National Freedom Party was the only people that was in contact with us. They made contact, and they actually came to distribute bread and food, etc. They made sure that our people has got something to eat. So when we talk about the working party, I think NFP stands a much better chance of getting this vote, because they have proven to us that they are working committee and they can work for us people.
So you clearly seem like someone who was swayed from a previous party to the NFP, yes, just based on the services that they offered you during lockdown.
Yes, of course. I've been at DA, I've been at ANC, you know, wherever I could find a loophole. But NFP is just my party. You know, their way of handling things, the way of coming to communities. I mean, people come into my area, informal settlement, and I mean, it is informal settlement. There's no roads, it's tar roads and whatever, it's the water laying around. They come into those roads and they come into our houses because they are a party that is there for the people. You get what I'm saying? So they come down onto our level to make sure that we have an awesome understanding and relationship, because you must have a relationship with the community before you want to take anything further.
Thank you very much. That was TASHREEQ from the NFP party, confident in his party's chances, but we will see once those results come out. As you've heard from him, he's experienced the same as what we've experienced at the different voting stations, a slow voter turnout, a quiet day. Will the numbers be similar to what we saw in the 2016 municipal by-elections, where we saw in this ward only a 52% voter turnout, or will it be lower?
Yeah. So, Govind, let's go back to you, of course, speaking to people as well about their concerns, what they want to happen. What are you hearing?
Yeah, people seem to be pinning their hopes on some of the smaller parties. There's a sense of disillusionment in both the communities of Lenasia and Rivoli. Let's have a look at what they had to say.
The reason why I'm voting is because I also want to have a say in this, and that corruption must be ruled out, because people want you to vote for them to cast their votes, and the minute you voted, nobody does anything here. Then they are gone. Like now, people are living illegally in our places. We are still living here. A mother of 3 big kids, I must stay with them in a one-room shack with my grandchild. People who don't have children, young children, they left now illegally. How the hell did they get it right? The corruption, first of all, must be ruled out.
I know there's a lot of corruption going on. The fact is that I just don't understand what's going on here. People blaming each other. And there's a lot of, I don't know why I say corruption is processes and stuff is being given out to people, and many people get them, others don't get it all. Nobody's been seen. How can I say? Most of the old people don't get to, how can I say, take notice of. They don't take notice of those are most of the people, man.
Heidi, we'll end with you. So the Premier making some promises to residents in Soweto.
Yes, most certainly, Shahan. The Premier got here as tensions were really high outside that primary school here in Naledi, trying to engage with the community to establish what exactly the problem is and why they are not allowing people to go into the facilities to vote. But we also understand that the Mayor, Jeff Makubo, is also here. We understand that he's also trying to understand what the actual problem is, Shahan. But just before we get to what the Premier promised community members, it's also important to note that the one facility where people were supposed to vote here in Naledi, the IEC had to then move its facility and erect a tent here on an open field in Naledi, as they were worried about the safety of the owner of the church, as community members were not happy with the fact that the lock was broken off of the gate, and now the IEC moved in to start the voting process. So as you can see behind me, people are starting to come in to vote. It has been extremely quiet this morning in terms of voter turnout, and that obviously has to do with the fact that there was unrest and there was blocking of certain facilities. But as you can see, they're trying to facilitate the process, and the Premier of Gauteng has promised the residents of Soweto, Shahan, that the electricity will be restored by the 27th of November. We asked the Premier how sure is he, as many promises have been made to this community, and it's clearly a massive problem that they need to deal with in terms of the electricity crisis in Soweto. But this is what he had to say to the residents.
I made a commitment to the community here. I'm going to make sure that these dates that Eskom has committed to restore power here in Naledi, I'm going to follow up as the Premier of the province. I'm going to follow up with the leadership of Eskom and the Office of the Minister responsible for Public Enterprises. And the elections will come and go, but the community still needs access to electricity. And they assured me that they being here, they are not fighting with anyone. They don't need the police to be worried that they are going to be causing violence. They have assured me, and I said to them, I hope there will be no violence. If they are not happy, they are standing here, they are saying they are not participating, is their democratic right. We are a democratic country. But the important thing is the 27th of November, which is the commitment that Eskom has made to this community to restore the substation here.
All right, we'll leave it there. Heidi Jacques, Govan Whittles, Monique Mortlock is in Cape Town.